Hi everybody, I hope you're all well. I'm quite cold this morning, so I'm in my Oodie, my other Oodie. I've got two of them, but this is the newer one. It's a lot nice and warmer than the other one. Forgive if I look very tired. Over the course of the weekend, we've had quite a storm hit the UK and where I am. Luckily, I was in the yellow warning area, but kind of near to like the amber and the red warning areas for the storm that hit. So it was really quite blustery where I was yesterday. Continues to be today, but not as bad as yesterday. But yeah, past couple of nights haven't slept very well because of the windy weather, so I'm looking rather tired, but you know, forgive me for that. So yeah, it's just been a week of working and such for me, and just being busy. But I am very, very happy because all of my Christmas shopping is done and has arrived. The last of it came yesterday. Yay! So I'm glad I've got that out the way. It's still, you know, relatively early because it's early December, but still I was a bit like, if I don't get to it, then I'm not going to get it done. And, you know, and obviously because my sister lives a little bit away from me, mum and dad, it's kind of, you know, possibly at some point we're going to have to go up to exchange presents, as it were, so I need to get it now. In order to get it, then I have actual stuff to give them. So yeah, so the sooner the better, and I am done, so yay. I've also been completely immersing myself in Yellowstone, which is was absolutely fantastic. I've just got series 5 to go. I've watched the prequels as well. 1923 is everything to me. I'm so glad that series 2 is back in February. And yeah, I've just been, you know, catching up on things and having, you know, getting through the week as best I can. It's been busy with work. So, but anyway, I am here to talk about the book I've been reading this week, which is The Maid by Nita Prose. Now, Nita is a Canadian author, and this is her debut novel. And I have to say, I had to DNF it. I don't want to put her down. This is a debut novel, and obviously in the span of career, writing style may change, etc., whatever. This did not work for me at all, but I got to the point where there was only one book that I have ever thrown across the room because I was so frustrated with it, which, in case you don't know what book that is, it was Twilight. I came very close to doing the same with this book. Now, let's talk about it. What is The Maid about? The Maid is about a woman called Molly, who is a maid in a boutique hotel. She is 25 years old, and she lived with her grandmother, but her grandmother has recently passed. It's kind of implied but never explicitly said, or at least in the pages that I read, just to emphasize, because I did have to DNF it, that Molly may be neurodivergent. And so she sees things in a different way than everyone else. She's very particular that everything has to be exact, everything has to be in its place, everything needs to be correct. She remembers details of things, very minute details of things. At the same time, she doesn't understand things that people may say or people may do, so like common phrases and such, she just has no concept of. And so she would go home each day and her grandmother would explain things to her, but she would need someone to explain that to her. She's very naive, but at the same time, when it comes to things such as her work, she isn't naive about those things, because it's things that she's learned through her routine. She has to do things in certain ways. She knows she's got certain like segments of the day. She knows, okay, in this time slot I'm going to be in that, cleaning that room, then that one, and so on and so on. She has to keep to a schedule. It has to be precise. And then one day her schedule gets a bit muddled up because of a situation where she goes to the penthouse to start cleaning it, but something then gets in the way and she has to leave before she finishes it. She doesn't get to clean the bathroom. So she goes back later in the day when she's got some time free to clean the bathroom. And when she goes in, she finds Mr. Black, the man who has rented the penthouse, dead on his bed. And so she contacts the downstairs saying, get an ambulance here. There's something wrong with Mr. Black. He looks like he's dead, and get the authorities. And so begins the mystery of what happened to Mr. Black. So first off, the pacing feels very rushed. It's like you've got information coming at you a mile a minute. I just kind of felt like sometimes I wanted it to just slow down a little bit. It's an effective way to show how Molly's mind works, how she processes things, how she sees the world, how she explains things, etc., to get a load of information about Molly very, very quickly out the gate. Okay, understand that. But at the same time, it meant that so much information was being flown at me that I didn't really get to know the real Molly. And that's my problem. One of my problems, shall I say, not the problem, one of my problems with this book. Me as a reader, as I've explained in previous reviews, I want to get to know the person. I want to completely understand why they do what they do. I want to be able to say I am immersed in this world, etc. And in a way, flooding us with information about Molly and how she sees the world allows us to know that straight away. Okay, get that, but it felt like it was too much. Like she tells us everything about her life, about her grandmother, about her routines, about what happened in the penthouse, and finding Mr. Black dead within about 15 pages. And then you're like, right, go, mystery. Like, what? Just can we just slow down just a little bit? Just maybe have it that we follow her routine through a day and just see things, see how people respond to her, see how people look at her and such, because then by understanding that more visually and taking that bit of breathing space, it'll allow me to understand what then happens, which I'm about to complain about. Okay, complaint number 2, the ridiculousness of the police. I'm sorry, right? If there's a maid has gone to clean a room and finds a dead body, she has frantically called for help and such. I understand that you have to kind of treat her as a possible suspect, but the police are almost like twirling mustaches going, oh, she's the one who did it and such. And it's like, how fucking incompetent are you? I'm sorry. No, not one of them thought of the concept that she could be neurodivergent and therefore explain why she acts the way that she acts, why she says the things that she says, why she has trouble understanding certain instructions and such that they give her. It never came across their mind. They just went, oh, she's weird, she's the one who did it. I'm sorry, no. No, I will not accept that. I'm sorry. Especially with this day and age. It's not like it's something that is never talked about. It's something that's never come across people's, it's never like in training or anything for any role possible. Just, my God, different people have disabilities or don't have disabilities, believe certain things, do not believe certain things, see things certain way, do not see things certain way. That doesn't mean that they're a murderer. I'm sorry. It's just the police frustrated the fuck out of me. Okay, third problem. The way in which everyone else annoyed the fuck out of me. I'm sorry. Right, again, her colleagues were just like, oh, she's the quirky one. Oh, she's... The concept that you could not be different was just so fucking frustrating to me. Every single page, I was just saying out loud, what the hell is this? I cannot get my head around this. This is not a case of well, okay, no. Let me rephrase that. I was about to say something and I thought, no, that's not the way to say it. I felt like if I carried on reading this, I bet you it's going to be that the ways in which Molly sees the world, whether that be confirmed as being a neurodivergency or not, because I don't know. As I said, I didn't get that far into the book to be able to find out if that was something that was absolutely confirmed about this character, that it would be the superpower. It would be the thing that would mean that she saw things that would solve the mysteries. And then I'm thinking, oh my God, it's like the really frustrating stereotype that people, for example, with autism are, even though they may not be able to communicate, they are the smartest people around. They're able to solve, really complex jigsaw puzzles, or to be able to see things that other people can't do. I'm sorry, I hate those kind of stereotypes, and it felt like as I was reading this, I could predict, okay, that's going to happen. It's so stereotypical. It just frustrated the hell out of me. I am all for representation in stories, in books, in whatever form, in art, in music, etc. But when you are using that art and such to just display stereotypes, it's off-putting. Everyone is unique. I totally understand. I totally accept that. It's a wonderful thing that everyone is completely unique. But to just use stereotypes, it just felt completely wrong. I did not like that at all. I mean, to put for like another book, which I absolutely loved the representation of, was Tash Loves Tolstoy, that I read, oh God, a few years ago now. The author's name is completely fallen out of my head, but that character was asexual, and with asexuality, there's a lot of things to say. For example, like, you don't like interacting with people. You don't necessarily have loving relationships with people, that you're put off by interacting. That no, you can just have any kind of what's deemed, I hate using this term, but to describe what I mean, normal interactions with people, and still have that as your sexual orientation. And Tash Loves Tolstoy completely showed that, and I loved that. And it also represented different cultures, different nationalities. It had so much in it, and I loved that, because it's just like, yeah, this is it, there you go. Whereas The Maid, it felt very much like, I'm going to do every stereotypical thing under the sun, and I'm going to use that as be the superpower for this story. And it wasn't a superpower, at least what I read. And it got me more and more frustrated, and I felt more and more disconnected from the characters. The actual world that it is set in, it just was a bit meh. There wasn't really anything that stood out as being really positive for me. But I will say, for Nita's writing, she does keep you engaged. It was just annoying that the engagement for me meant being thrown all of those stereotypical stuff that I just then would just go, no, not doing this. I am not doing this. She does, as mentioned, the pace was rather fast for me, but she kept that going. She did introduce a lot of characters. She didn't stall, is what I'm trying to say. Her choice of language, it was simple, yet there was a complex side to it. there was nothing that stood out as being wrong, but at the same time, what she was doing to be able to push the narrative along for me did not work. That was what was wrong. And like I said, having police who basically go, oh, she's quirky, she does weird shit, therefore she's a murderer, and almost like twiddling their mustache. Like, it felt like a 1920, like early cinema, like, ha ha ha, we're the evil ones. It felt like that, and that was what really irked me. I mean, of course, police are going to suspect anyone, especially whoever finds a dead body. It's going to be a suspect for some time, but it just felt like they would not let that go. And it just frustrated me. The more and more I read it, the more and more frustrated I got. So therefore, I had to DNF it. I could not deal with this. Now, I have seen clips of a TV show. I don't know the name of it. I can't think, where it's a woman who's a cleaner at a police department or something. I don't know. And like, she knocked over a load of papers and she looked at things. She saw something in the photo and she's like, that's not right. And she was able to explain, look, this person's not a victim. That they're actually involved with this, and I thought, okay, that's interesting. And she's a single mum. She is just cleaning as her job. She said she has a thing about detail and such. I find that much more engaging than this, because even though it is, I don't know, again, with that character in that TV show, if she is neurodivergent or not, but there are some characteristics there that would kind of imply that she is. But I've only seen clips. I have absolutely no idea if she is, if it's been categorically said. But there's substance there. There is something, and she goes, yeah, I'm a single mum, I've got this, that, and that going on in my life and everything. And at first the police are like, what in the hell? And then they realise, oh my God, she actually saw some. Let's talk about this a bit more. Let's break this down a bit. And the police then trust her and start talking to her about it. Whereas in this book, it was just the absolute polar opposite. They're like, what the hell? She's guilty. This is just, the more I read this, the more I got angry. And so I couldn't carry on. And so as much as, for a debut novel, that there was a load of ticks and everything for the author, for what she wrote, there was a lot of ticks for the negative side of things that she wrote, and I just couldn't. So, as far as I know, Nita's gone on to publish other books. This is actually being made into a film. I don't think I'll be seeing it because, I didn't get along with the story. But best of luck to her and everything, and well done for writing what she's done so far, what she goes on to have in her career, etc. It just did not work for me. And that was another thing that's just popped into my head right when I'm winding down from this. Mr. Black, our victim, he kind of annoyed me because literally the first thing we see of him, he's dead. I'm like, okay. And then we find out that he occasionally met with Molly, as in like in passing, like they saw each other, like glanced at them at a time. But that kind of was really it, or at least that was in the pages that I read to emphasize. I don't know anything that gets revealed later on. But here's the thing. Why should I give a shit about a character being a victim if I have no friggin' idea who he is? Why should I go on that journey? So that's why I think if the beginning was slowed down, if we read more about that day, if we went through an entire, or even a couple of, like we saw Mr. Black arrive at for the penthouse suite in the opening chapter, and then he didn't die until, like, say, the third chapter or something, then that would give us a bit more breathing space. I think it would have worked better for me, but then that's just me, just to emphasize, just because I didn't like it, that doesn't mean that it's a terrible book. it's just for me. So yeah, I could not deal with it. So those are my thoughts of The Maid by Nita Prose. Now, time to ask my usual questions. Would I read this again? No. Would I recommend this to anyone? No. Would I read any more of Nita's work? If she wrote something completely separate from The Maid, because I know she's done other Maid books, then I would give those a go, because I think I just need to break away from Molly and that universe and everything. But yeah, if I were to another Maid book, no. But another Nita book separate from that, I would give it a go, because everyone deserves another chance of their work to be reviewed. So yeah, that's how I feel. So those are my thoughts on The Maid. Have you read this book? I'd love to know what you think. Leave me a comment. Comments are slow. Give me a thumbs up, thumbs down. Entirely on each side. And we're back with my next read, which is we're back with Catherine Cookson. It's The Moth. Quite excited for this one. So see how that one goes. All right then, everyone. Bye.